Hey, welcome back to CNEN, your crypto news entertainment network. This is Christopher, and let's get into it. So today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to be taking a deep dive into the Hedera network, or the Hedera Hashgraph staking rewards. We're going to be talking about the actual network, its native token HBAR, the staking pros and cons, the current APR, current fees, their distribution, other forms of staking and yield earning, and then compare it to some other networks. So jumping in first, we're going to get into the actual hash graph. So Hedera prides itself on being the trust layer of the digital economy. It is the world's only public network governed by known institutions. You can see some of the stats here. Open source public network governed by leading organizations around the world. Here's their council. You may notice some organizations or companies that you are aware of. Most likely Google, Dell, Hitachi, IBM. Some big names there, some big names. So that they are happy. That gives the network a bit more professionalism and credibility. That's what they're trying to push for with having that specific type of council. Here are some of the applications built on the network. Quotation, don't really want to. Okay, so sorry, the gold standard in blockchain. The Hashgraph consensus is fast, efficient, and completely secure. It's ABFT. It's decentralized. It supports EVM and ERC. It is secure. It is fast. It can do 10,000 transactions per second before sharding. And every finality, the transactions go through in under 3 seconds, which is pretty impressive, pretty impressive. Energy efficiency is off the charts. We'll cover that when we get to the actual HBAR token. And with its fixed low cost fees, it is very viable for organizations and new technology to incorporate it. Yeah. So moving on to the actual HBAR token, because that's what we're going to be talking mostly about here, the staking rewards and the HBAR token. So the whole point of the HBAR token is for network fuel and protecting the network. The Hedera Hashgraph is a proof of stake network. When the HBARs are staked to network nodes, they have a weighted influence on consensus for processing transactions. If you want to do a little bit more reading on that, it is there. The Treasury Management Report, if you want to do that, see, this is what I was looking for. So a third generation public ledger, they state on their website that Bitcoin was the first generation, Ethereum second, and Hedera is now a third generation. So they're just sort of highlighting how energy efficient and capable Hedera is compared to some of the old generations. With Bitcoin only able to perform 7 and Ethereum only performing 30 transactions per second, over 10,000 transactions per second is quite impressive. There is an asterisk there. We will see that in a minute. The average fee for each network is $10 for Bitcoin, at least 68 cents for Ethereum, while on Hedera, they have a fixed fee of 0.001 USD. Well, that is the average. We will cover the transaction fees in more detail in a few minutes here. And then transaction confirmation for Bitcoin takes 10 to 60 minutes, Ethereum 10 to 20 seconds, but Hedera with finality is 3 to 7 seconds. So I guess not under 3 seconds. Maybe that's something to do with smart contracts. I am not sure. You can please do your own research. Remember, this is not financial advice. This is crypto news and updates, taking a deep dive into a network that I thought was interesting, and their staking rewards are interesting. Moving on. So you can see the energy consumption per transaction for Bitcoin. It is quite a bit. 2,927,000 W8 watt hours. Sorry. Pretty crazy. That's a lot of energy. Ethereum is nowhere near with only 9.956, but Hedera Hashgraph at 0.003 watt hours per transaction is just unbelievably low. I believe that that makes them carbon neutral, but do not quote me on that. If anybody knows whether or not that makes them carbon neutral, please drop it in the comments. Going back to that abstract cryptocurrency transactions throttled at 10,000 transactions per second and will increase in the future, sharding to enable unlimited transactions per second. So yeah, like I said, sharding can enable more, but for now, until that happens, 10,000 transactions per second is pretty impressive. Though saying that, I believe that the hash graph um, does not perform anywhere near 10,000 transactions per second. I think it hovers, maybe averages around 10 to 15. We'll take a look at that again in a few minutes here. So yeah, just sort of talking about some metrics on it. Total supply is 50 billion HBAR. Um, Talking about different users, staking, you can stake HBAR. Every node on the Hedera's proof of stake network has a weighted influence on consensus. That weight is proportional to the number of HBARs staked to a node. Transactions are placed into consensus after they're processed by nodes, representing an aggregate stake of over 2/3 of the network's total supply of HBARs. Rewards are split between the node operator and accounts staked to a node, earning the staker a small share of the transaction fees. So yeah, that was a bit of a bleh, but we will cover that in more detail. So just a couple of HBAR facts I want to share with you. Hedera has a fixed supply of 50 billion coins. It would need the entire council to unanimously approve an increase in supply. Let's hope that, or if you're an investor in HBAR and you don't believe in inflationary or in inflation. Probably don't want that to happen. But continuing on, what are the official HBAR currency denominations? So one HBAR is one H. You can see a kilobar, megabar, a gigabar. Then it does go down to millibar, microbar, and even a tiny bar, which 100,000 or 100 million tiny bars makes one Hedera H. Crazy, crazy. Yeah, moving on. So now we're going to talk about HBAR staking a little bit, or how to get started with staking. So here's some of the wallets that support Hedera staking. I don't think Blade Wallet does anymore, or they're not going to. I think I saw some kind of post or article about them stopping that service as they're moving towards other services in their DApp. If you know anything about that, drop it in the comments, share, let me know, please. But yeah, so those are some of the wallets that you can download. I have personally used Hashpack and another one called Kabila. Um, all these wallets I'm sure are fantastic. It's very simple to go in and stake. Click a tab, click a button, and you're going. Some exchanges, custodians. Yeah, so moving on. So right now, the Hedera, the HBAR staking rewards are capped at 2.5%. Right now, until the council votes and changes this, the reward distribution cannot be over 2.5%. So if you have 100 HBARs staked per year, the maximum amount of staking rewards you can earn would be 2.5 HBARs. Though the actual staking reward rate right now is nowhere near that. As you can see by this page here, um, if I were to have 100, oh, let's do 1,000. Here's a bit more. 1,000 H bars staked, I would only actually earn 0.02% per year, which would be about zero point 0.2 H bars. So not very much at all. But as well, I have chosen this node, which is only 6.4% of max. But if you go onto some of the more popular nodes, such as Google here, they're at 226.9% of max. You go here and you're actually only going to get a 0.009% yearly reward rate. So even lower than that, just due to the amount of H bars staked to that validator. So just something to think about and look at. These are all the Hedera Council members that host nodes on the network. That's one of the things that the council members have to do is host a node. and as well create some kind of DApp or use case utilizing the network, which Mance Harmon has rejoined the council to help bring the council together and push everything through. And they've also deployed Heat, Hedera's enterprise adoption team, with Rob Allen, I believe, spearheading that, to help push the council members to get their use cases more mainstream and utilized. But yeah, so yeah, why is it so low? Why is it so low? Well, Hedera utilizes the network fees they get to pay out the staking rewards. Though right now, as you can see, is there transactions per second? TPS. Right now we're getting 15 transactions per second, and that is apparently a high transaction per second. So it's not a lot of transactions going through, and with so many HBARs being staked, and that's why we have such a low reward rate right now. Oh yeah, you can see right here, hourly transactions per second is 15, and that's 114.3% of the average. So that's a bit higher than average that we've seen. So yes, Hedera can do 10,000, where was that? 10,000, oh, missing that, all good. 10,000 transactions per second, but right now it's averaging less than 15. So nothing crazy, but you can see that the reward fees are not quite there. So over the last day, when they pay everybody out, for the billions of HBAR that's staked, they only have 7,287 HBARs to pay out. But again, that's the total network fees. That's not even the actual amount going to staking rewards. You can see from this Hedera Council meeting minutes from August 9th, 2023, if we scroll down, you can actually see that in December 2022, the council members voted to allocate transaction fees as follows: 80% to the council operations account, 10% to the staking rewards account, and 10% to a node rewards account. However, the node rewards account is not structured yet, or it wasn't at this point, so 90% were going into the operations account. So 10% to the staking rewards account voted to allocate transaction fees as follows. So 10% to the staking rewards account. So we'll go back here. So you can see that these fees in the last 24 hours, 7,287, only 10% of those actually are going to staking rewards. So it's not even 7,287 HBARs that are being distributed to everybody who's staking. It's actually 728.7 HBARs that are being distributed to everyone staking. So that is why the transaction, the staking rewards are so low, because there's just not enough activity on the network. Though that's why people sort of feel safe, possibly with the HBAR network, is they're not just pumping staking rewards everywhere. They're not trying to dilute their coin by inflating it. They're just hoping for slow and steady growth, which pros and cons to everything. Again, this is not financial advice. Please do your own research. I am not a financial advisor. Um, but Hedera has a really big focus on enterprise use cases. They love their predictable fees. Their predictable fees. So basically, they don't charge their fees or they don't price their fees in HBAR. They price their fees in US dollars. So basically, when someone utilizes the network, they're going to pay in HBAR, but they are going to pay a certain amount in US dollars. Sorry, that was a very bad explanation. But so when someone goes and I see, how much am I going to pay to send this over this network? They might say, oh, it's 0.001 of this coin. While on the Hedera network, they're going to say it's 1 penny US dollars, which is X amount in Hedera, and they'll pay that. And their fees aren't pegged on a HBAR. I guess that's the correct term, or not pegged on HBAR. So it's not always 1 HBAR per transaction. It could be 0.0001 HBAR per transaction. Actually, as HBARs move up in value, that'll make the amount of HBAR you utilize for fees lower. Again, please do your own research. You can check everything out. But yeah, so they do that so these enterprises that they are trying to get into here feel more comfortable that they're not going to have to purchase a bunch of a certain cryptocurrency that is then going to inflate in value, deflate in value. They know that they need to utilize a certain amount in US dollars, and yeah, makes them a bit more comfortable utilizing the network. So the fees. So how much does it cost to do everything? So again, these are all the denominations. But so cryptocurrency service. So you can see, create a cryptocurrency is 5 cents USD. Delete a crypto, again, 5 cents. To transfer cryptocurrency is 0.0001%, which I believe is for 8. But I could be wrong on that. I think other tokens on the network are a bit more expensive, but I'm not sure. Drop a comment. Let me know what I am talking about here. So yeah, so there's all these fees, and then the consensus service, different fees as well. Token service, token airdrop is 10 cents. Getting info on a token is 0.0001 cent. Update, pause, all these different things that stablecoin issuers and other token issuers are going to want to utilize when they are updating or programming their token. Schedules, file service, smart contract service. Smart contracts are huge on Ethereum and Hedera, and really gaining traction with AI agents and everything. So that could be a big source of revenue and fees, and then other ones. But yeah, so that's where all these transactions go. So it's hard to say with X amount of transactions, but that's why this is nice here. It shows you the fees. It knows what transactions are being um, done, so it knows how much each transaction costs. It's at hgraph.com/Hedera/stats, just a free tool to check out the Hedera network. Yeah, moving on. So you want to utilize Hedera, but those staking rewards are not the best. Well, there are other options. Again, this is not financial advice. Please do your own research. This is just sort of a deep dive into Hedera staking and just sort of talking about what is available and what there is. So native staking is obviously the safest. With native staking, there's no lockups, unlike some of the other cryptocurrencies out there that have withdrawal queues, or you have to wait 21 days, 28 days, however much it might be. It is never actually locked up. It sits in your wallet and you stake it, and if you want to spend it, whatever, it's fine. It goes out of your wallet. You're not going to earn on those HBAR anymore, but you still earn on the rest that you have in your wallet. So that's the safest, most secure, and you're supporting the network with that. But then there's also liquid staking, which one popular option is Stater Labs. Again, please do your own research. I'm not in any way affiliated or promoting any of these options. I'm just sort of talking about what's available. So yeah, you can stake HBAR here on Stater Labs, where you will put in a certain amount of HBAR and you will get a certain amount of HBAR X back. So if I were to put my 1,000 HBAR in here, I'd get 738.7421 HBAR X. So with that, I pay a small fee when I put that in. Stater then take this HBAR that they have staked and they utilize I believe DeFi within the Hedera ecosystem, possibly DeFi outside of the Hedera ecosystem, and native staking rewards, so they can earn this percentage rate. So basically, you will get this amount right now, but then say in a year you want to swap your HBAR X back to HBAR. Your HBAR X will actually have gone up in value compared to HBAR, no matter what, because every time someone makes a transaction through Stater Labs, that small fee goes into there, and then with whatever their protocol is doing, those staking rewards go to uh, make HBAR X worth more. So then when you go back in a year to do it, you won't get 1,000 HBAR, you might get 1,050 HBAR, you might get 1,010 HBAR, whatever that 4% rate would be. I guess it would be 43.3 HBAR if I do a little bit of quick mental math. So yeah, so that is an option. The one thing or a couple of things is obviously this is you're giving someone else your coin and they're going to be holding it. Yes, they give you HBARX, but just to be aware that you won't have your original HBARs in your wallet anymore. Please do your own research on liquid staking. Talk to ChatGPT, Google, whatever it might be, so you understand the risks associated with this. Moving on to even riskier options, getting into liquidity pools. So there's Saucer Swap on the Hedera network and the H-Suite network. So the H-Suite network and Saucer Swap hold liquidity pools. So basically you can go into um, these decentralized exchange, and you can have your HBAR and then another token, which then you would put into a liquidity pool to earn rewards from the fees and transactions that happen within it. But this comes with impermanent loss, which is something that I am not going to get too deep into, but it can be very detrimental to your holdings. It is something you definitely want to do research on. Please do not put anything into a liquidity pool until you have researched and definitely understand the risks with impermanent loss. I am not recommending you utilize these at all. I am just showing you um, some other options on top of staking where you can earn yield. But again, the safest is the native staking. It's in your wallet. You're not earning very much, but you're helping secure the network. And yeah, while Saucer Swap here and H-Suite is going to be more risky due to that impermanent loss. But yeah, again, different options to um, earn yield on. Moving on. So want to lastly talk about some of the other networks that offer staking rewards and just some things to think about too. So you see here Ethereum, and these are all proof of stake. So these are native staking. This is not a liquid staking like on Stater Labs. This is not the liquidity pool options that have the impermanent loss possibility in H-Suite or Saucer Swap. Though saying that, H-Suite does have their own native token, and SaucerSwap do have their own native token that you can stake to earn rewards. But again, though, that is not HBAR. That is a token within the network. But so this is the native staking options, not liquid, not liquidity pool. So as you can see here, these are the average reward rates for the coins. Just one thing to be aware of is the different amount of tokens they have in circulation, the total amount that they can have. So with Hedera, we know that it's capped at 50 billion and the entire council needs to vote on it, vote unanimously to increase it, which definitely can happen. Oh, I didn't want to open those. But you can see Ethereum, which earns a modest 2.99% interest, has an unlimited maximum supply. So there are deflationary mechanisms within Ethereum where every transaction a small amount is burned to eliminate some from the supply, but it is unlimited. There is no hard cap of Ethereum. So right now there's 120,703,750, but that can go up and down. And honestly, it's just something I want you to be aware of and think about. I'm not saying it's a pro or a con. Pretty much all of the currency in the world right now, fiat, is inflationary. So again, do your own research, not financial advice. And then again, Solana, another thing where they have 543 million circulating, 610 total, but max supply again is unlimited. So I don't know if these guys need to vote to increase the total supply or if it gets increased every certain amount of time. Please do your own research so you can understand what you're actually looking at and thinking about. So yeah, that is me talking about Hedera Network, Hedera Hashgraph staking rewards. If you like this, drop a like and a comment, subscribe. Yeah, great to see you guys. This is Christopher of CNEN.